Hello everyone, it is Alder, your Plants Field Instructor. I'm out here in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I'm gonna show you some cool urban trees. Okay, so the first tree I want to show you is this Norway Maple right here. Beautiful, beautiful tree, beginning to leaf out. See all that bright green color coming out. You can see how it kind of twists at the base. And this is a really common urban tree. All throughout the city, regardless of city you're in, you're gonna see some Norway maples. They're very resilient of urban conditions, compacted soil, maybe acidic soil, maybe some harsh pollutants, but it does a really nice job. This tree can be found all over, and right now it's blooming, so maybe you can go find some in your own city. Okay, so here's a really nice look at the Norway maple. You can get a good sense of what the bark looks like, the form of it. And this is a really, really big tree. And like I said, these trees are very, very good at being adapted to urban environments. So all throughout the city, regardless of what city you're in, you'll see them growing. And they're even so good in some areas at growing and reproducing that you can't even plant them anymore because they may take over your gardens. But you'll find them all throughout the city, and I want you to go look and find some yourself. Feel free to share it with us at the Field Study Notebook Instagram, and let's see all the Norway maples we can find. So our next tree is this London plane tree right here. You can see the very white pale bark of it. You can see it growing right on the sidewalk next to some of these Harvard dorms. And this tree is also very adapted to urban conditions. And the London plane tree actually is a hybrid. So some plants don't grow naturally. This is a hybrid between the American sycamore tree and the Oriental plane tree. And this was hybridized in London and now planted all throughout cities. The leaf of this tree is actually the emblem for the New York City Parks Department, and it is super well adapted to urban environment. As you can see, the bark kind of looks like this camouflage, and that's because it sheds off. So every year as it expands, the bark sheds and it grows new bark. But as the bark sheds off, it's kind of like an air filter. So you can think of an air filter and how an air filter collects pollutants and how an air filter needs to be changed every so often. We have another London plane tree over here. We can check this out. But the bark is like the air filter. It takes in the pollutants and then it sheds it off, grows new barks, takes in pollutants and sheds it off. So it is a natural air filter. So I want you to find some of these London plane trees. Very, very cool. Right, so right here we have this beautiful tree that is flowering, and this is a Calorie Pear tree. So kind of like an apple tree has a cousin, the crab apple, the pear tree has a cousin called the Calorie Pear. It has these really, really pretty white flowers, and we'll talk about flower parts in another episode. And right now these trees are blooming all over. They do a really nice job in urban conditions as well. However, this tree has a tendency to break, so kind of split apart. Right here where all these branches come out, as it gets older, they might split apart. But that's okay, some arborists can come in, do some tree work. So keep an eye out for white flowers around the city. And I'll give you a better look at the bark, which looks like this. Big old pear tree. Beautiful flowers. Look at that. Wow. A few of them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Gorgeous. Really, really pretty. So here we have a nice little swamp white oak. The swamp white oak is related to the other oaks, the other white oaks, red oaks, Oregon white oak. But this is specifically found in wetland areas, in swamps. And a lot of wetland species do really well in the city because they're adapted to low oxygen. In a wetland area, the soil gets flooded with water and there's not a lot of oxygen. And plants actually need oxygen to grow. But urban environments have soil compaction, so there's not a lot of oxygen in the soil here. So wetland species do well, like this swamp white oak, like red maple, like silver maples. And this is a young tree, so it has a gator bag which gets filled with water, so the city can ensure that this tree gets enough water and can grow super tall and super big and provide us with shade, clean air, and beauty. And maybe some birds will live in it too. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful flower. We have this lovely, lovely tree right here. Pretty small tree. It has one of those gator bags, but it also has some support on either side of this little grate that keeps it supported. And I wasn't actually sure what kind of tree this is, but sometimes the city helps you out. So look at this. There's a little tag. It's a Serviceberry. Super cool. Thank you, city. Thank you, tree. We got a bus going by. Look at that. Plants right in the city. Doesn't matter. They'll flower. They're in the sunlight. They love it. So here we have an American elm tree. I know there are some American elms by actually the library downtown, but this is the state tree of Massachusetts. Remember, we went to Elm Brook Conservation. So it's a beautiful tree that kind of grows in this vase-like shape, kind of flaring out at the top. They can get super big, but a lot of them have been killed off by a disease called Dutch elm disease that has been in the United States for over 100 years, which is super sad, but there are still some specimens like this one between the houses. And they can get some treatment, kind of like going to the doctor to get your shot. They can get some treatment to make sure that they stay healthy. But it's a really cool tree we don't see too many of anymore. So keep an eye out for some American elms. So right here, we actually have the little Samaras, these little seeds of an elm tree. And they're just starting to pop out, but you can kind of see where the seeds are inside of them. So these elm trees are kind of starting to bud out and make these little Samaras. Maples also have Samaras. These are a little bit different. And as they grow and grow and grow, they'll be able to fly away and spread their seed. And that's just this little tree right here on the sidewalk. So cool. Okay, so we are in Harvard Yard, and there is this beautiful, beautiful elm tree right here. We looked at a couple before. This one's really big. It's been protected here in the yard. So people have been taking care of this yard for hundreds of years now. At Harvard University, beautiful buildings, but beautiful trees. A lot of college campuses actually have their own arborists, people that take care of trees. So these trees have been maintained for a very long time. If you look at the top, you can actually see that green. Remember we just saw those little Samaras on that baby elm tree? Well, this one has them too. So they're starting to blossom. Those buds are starting to open up, but look at this tree. Can't get over it. I hope you enjoy it. And last but not least, we have this beautiful Carolina rhododendron. Absolutely gorgeous. These flowers blooming, so pretty. There are a few different kinds of rhododendron. One that's native to the Pacific Northwest, but this one is native to the Carolinas. However, trees in the city are planted from locations all over the world. So whatever can do well in the city or can add beauty or habitat, we can plant them there, as long as they're non-invasive. We don't want them to take over, but look at this, absolutely gorgeous. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed seeing some new plants, and I hope you get outside to find some on your own. Thanks everyone.